And welcome to another episode of Tidal Flooding Talk, brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition. I am here alongside the whole crew. We have Dan Skeldon, Palmas Shiles. We are ripping through the month of March. Spring equinox almost on the way. You know, when I think of spring equinox, I also think of those spring tides. Sometimes those king tides that we get during the spring. And I'm also looking forward to getting a little more color in my life. You know, the sun's getting stronger. I can kind of shed the paleness. Right, Dan? We were trying to be nice and tan. How tan do you want to be this summer, Dan?
I usually burn. I'm either white or red.
Okay.
Don't have that Italian tanning capability in me.
Palma does, though.
I do if I get out in the sun. I'm usually not out in the sun enough to get the tan, but
Right.
you know, maybe that'll be my goal this year to be out in the sun enough.
You know what we got to do? We got to talk to Tom Quirk, our executive director, and he's got to fund a couple of vacations out in the sun for us. You know, a couple of tidal flooding talks on location, maybe on a beach somewhere, so we can get out of our office, whatever we are here. But yes, yeah, we'll work on we'll work on that. Speaking of the beach, let's talk about waves for today. Our topic today is going to be about rogue waves, and you know, when you think of rogue waves, you might be saying, Joe, that's a rogue topic. What do you mean? Well, there's actually some science to these rogue waves and how they impact, you know, us, how they impact, you know, whether it's vessels or even perhaps oil platforms in the North Sea, but also it impacts tidal flooding as well. And we want to welcome on Francesco Fedele. He's a associate professor at Georgia Tech in the School of Civil and Environmental Engineering. Francesco is also Italian too, so we have to start off with the question: How tan do you get, Francesco? Do you tan pretty good?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
good.
I'm from Calabria, so you know I grew up near the beach.
That's right.
So you know, I mean, I don't like mountains. I don't like the snow. So I'm a swimmer. So I've been swimming all my life. So ocean, especially ocean swimming. So welcome.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Excellent. You know, I'm more from the mountains in Italy, so we are a little bit on the paler side. But anyway, let's get to our topic here. We want to talk about your research. So, you know, we came across you, you know, across your research in I believe it's called The Conversation, where you had a story about your research here about rogue waves in the North Sea. The North Sea being around Scandinavia. So let's just start off, you know, can you define rogue waves for us?
Yes. Before saying that, I just want to, I just finished teaching my art and AI course, and today was an art lab. And as you can see, I am at the Cullenwood Fine Arts Center of Atlanta in one
Excellent.
of the beautiful room in Dimension. So you know, we just finished the course, and so I didn't have the time to drive to my office.
No problem. We appreciate you being here.
Yes, thank you. So, would you mind if I share some slides? So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please go for
it. You know, okay. Let's see. And okay.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. Rogue waves. Originally, no, the first rogue wave that happened in the North Sea was at the Draupner platform. You can see here it happened in the January 1st, 1993. So they call it the New Year's wave. And you know, it was a wave at least 23 meters of wave height.
And that's about 80 feet tall, right? 80 feet tall. Yeah.
Exactly. And that happened in the 1993. That was the first event, and you know, and it triggered the curiosity and the enthusiasm of many researchers until nowadays. But at that time, you know, they call it a freak wave. Okay, you know, it was a freak of nature. And then, you know, in 2007, at the nearby platform, the Ekofisk platform is still in the North Sea. There was another similar wave. They call it Andrea wave. And since then, you know, they replaced the freak wave with a rogue wave. So maybe, it's less scary and threatening than a freak wave. And so what happened originally? These waves, they occur in the open ocean, okay? And so that's the study mainly, from then, we try to understand what are the physical mechanisms that can generate such a huge, enormous wave in the open ocean away from the coast, and what happened is that there are two main physical mechanism that researchers have been working on. One is the modulation instability, which I'm gonna tell you later, which is based on the nonlinear Schrödinger equation, and then there is the other physical mechanism based on the constructive interference of waves, plus the effect of sharpness of the crest due to bound nonlinearities. So the constructive.
You know what? I'm just going to stop you real quick, Francesco, just so everybody's on the same page. What is constructive interference?
Yes, constructive interference. So imagine that you have waves coming from all directions. Eventually, there could be a situation in which all these waves, they will meet and overlap in phase at a given location, and then they can pile up and form a large wave. What is interesting that from a physical point of view, this constructive interference will lead to the creation of a wave group that you can see here on my left plot. So basically, the result is going to be a wave group that is traveling in this direction and is going to focus, grow in amplitude, and then defocus. So actually, that's what create basically, the underlying physics of constructive interference lead to the creation of this this wave group, which are are fundamental elements to understand wave propagation in the ocean. And they are being made.
Are they more likely to occur, say, during storms when the ocean is churned up?
Yes, during storm.
Can they occur when there's absolutely calm weather?
They can also occur when there is no wind, because it's basically the wave can be generated far away, another location, and then the wave will propagate to another calm area with no wind, and so you can also have this generation of extreme waves. But this is not enough to explain the Draupner and Rogue wave and the Andrea waves. We also have to account for the fact that everyone experienced this at the beach. When you look at the waves, they have a very sharp crest and very shallow troughs. And this is due to the so-called bound nonlinearities. And the constructive interference with this wave group has been studied already with Adler, Lindgren, and Boccotti from a more physical point of view. And then basically, this nonlinear second order, this nonlinear effects due to bound harmonics, they are due to typhoon, and they're and it's still in the 80s. Yes.
No. I was going to actually pause for our first break. But we want to come back on the other side. We'll continue this conversation. All right. We'll come back in just a minute here on Tidal Flooding Talk. Thanks to the New Jersey Coastal Coalition, your flood insurance bills are lower and your streets safer from the reality of flooding. Since beginning in 2013, we build more resilient shoreline communities. Our member towns develop and share in best practices that anticipate future concerns and create flooding solutions. From our town-specific free web app for flooding information to our weekly Tidal Flooding Talk show, we focus on flooding 24/7. Visit www.njcoastalcoalition.com for more.
Hello and welcome back. You are watching Tidal Flooding Talk. We are brought to you by the New Jersey Coastal Coalition and we would like to remind our viewers to protect your property from flood hazards. Don't let floodwaters damage your property, or worse, put you in danger. Just 2 feet of moving water can carry a car away. Stay aware of flood-prone streets and park on higher grounds when heavy rain is in the forecast. And remember, driving through flooded roads is never worth the risk. Turn around, don't drown.
Awesome. And we're back with Francesco here. He was, we had to cut him off for our break, but we're going to let him continue what he was talking about with constructive interference and what this means for these huge 80-foot rogue waves. So Francesco, back over to you.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to show now a simple constructive interference of 2 wave groups that come from different directions, and you see that when they propagate, they meet and focus on a large wave and focus. And actually, this I've been studying the data measurements collected at the North Sea. Here you can see an event that we were able to stereo image at Ecofist. It happened on very recently, November 2023. So we were able to capture on camera a 14 meters wave, and as you, on the left, on the right hand side, you can see the reconstruction of this wave based on the constructive interference theory, which basically now give rise to the genetic code of a rogue wave. So the space-time structure of a rogue wave is basically this elemental wave group that we can think of to be like a genetic code. Here I can show you here.
This is the good part.
Yes, this is AI-generated video done by my student, Jason Lin. So these, you see, when you are in open ocean, waves, energy can spread in all directions. And so there is no energy can spread directionally. And so that's why, but is not the same as being in a wave propagating in a channel, which is basically the analog of people leaving a stadium along a huge channel. Because when you are along one unidirectional channel, the energy is confined between two walls, and so it cannot spread directionally. And there you can have more intense nonlinear effects, which are called the modulation instability of the nonlinear Schrödinger equation. Of course, this is the modulation instability is very effective in waves that are along a channel in which energy cannot spread directionally. Indeed, I've been studying modulation instability for a while. I also find formulas that researchers have been developed to prove rogue waves, and I correct them because they were wrong. And actually, I find out that rogue waves in the ocean, they have nothing to do with the large wave that occur in a channel. So modulation instability is not effective in the open ocean. And here you have more like a constructive interference.
So let me ask you, or go ahead, Dan. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it.
Quick question. Are these waves more of a threat in the open ocean, like to ships and out over the open waters, or can they ever be a concern and propagate towards the coast?
Yes, that's a great question. Of course, in open ocean, so these rogue waves, they are a danger for offshore platform and ship navigation. Regarding near the coast, of course, the large waves can also occur near the ocean, near the coast. However, there is the effect of shallow water, the effect of the bathymetries, which basically intensify the sharpness of the waves, and so large waves will tend to break more easily. And then all this kinetic energy and momentum of of the wave that breaks will be transferred to the water column. So you can have basically the classical wave setup with an increase of the water level, which then will add to the tides and to the surge induced by wind or low pressure conditions. So definitely that's how I believe the rock waves, the large waves that occur near the coast will basically affect coastal flooding.
Are we getting better at spotting these before they actually occur? Because if I were someone on one of those boats, that would be pretty terrifying.
Yes. What happened is that these waves, they occur in groups. And so it's very important to account for the space-time evolution of a wave. And I give you an example. So for example, for the case of ship navigation, a rogue wave encountered by a ship along its navigation path is larger than the rogue wave that you would observe if you wait at a fixed point in the ocean. And this is basically, I study this concept of space-time extremes in 2012. And I give you a simple analogy. Imagine, have you ever seen surfers waiting for the large wave to ride at a fixed...
All the time.
They always move around an area and always find the large wave. So that's basically the analogy. So we need actually now with this space-time theory that I formulated using Adler theory of random fields, Adler and Taylor random field theory. You can predict basically what are the regions of the ocean that are prone to rogue wave behavior according to this in a space-time setting, and has been implemented in the wave watch model of NOAA. And it can provide a kind of forecast. If basically the wave spectra over a region, so you can come up with rogue wave indicators over that area. And so that is pretty also something that also to consider. Usually when we talk about a wave, we think about something that a large wave that has been measured at a given point of the ocean. But we need to remember that in reality, the wave that we observe, the large wave that we observe at a point, is nothing else that the effect of a wave group propagating through space and time. And most of the time, if this is basically a fixed point in time. So you see that the large wave that you measure at this point is not even the largest one, because basically it is the effect of the tail of the wave group that is going through that point. Because basically the probability that a wave group will pass through a given point at the apex of its development, when the wave height is the maximum, is practically zero. And so waves over space, they are much larger than a wave that observed at a point.
All right. Yeah,
perfect.
we got to take our final break. We're, so much good stuff about rogue waves, but we do have to take our final break. We'll be back in just a minute here on Tidal Flooding Talk. Thanks to the New Jersey Coastal Coalition, your flood insurance bills are lower and your streets safer from the reality of flooding. Since beginning in 2013, we build more resilient shoreline communities. Our member towns develop and share in best practices that anticipate future concerns and create flooding solutions. From our town-specific free web app for flooding information to our weekly Tidal Flooding Talk show, we focus on flooding 24/7. Visit www.njcoastalcoalition.com for more.
Well, welcome back to this week's Tidal Flooding Talk. A rogue episode on rogue waves is what we're immersed in. I was just wondering, quick question here, because you kind of alluded to it earlier, like trying to predict these. Is there an area of the ocean, if you wanted to see one of these, what spot on the globe, what spot on the ocean are they most likely to occur? Is that known yet?
Well, I mean, nowadays, thanks to satellite imagery, we can detect wave group patterns over an ocean of the area that has been, swapped by the satellites. However, still, it takes the data processing is very computationally demanding. And usually, a rogue wave, the occurrence of a rogue wave, the time scale is of the order of a wave period. So we're talking about 20, 30 seconds of a rogue event. So, I mean, we could, of course, there have been models. If you want to do a kind of data simulation for forecast of this event, so you could train a system that can acquire real-time measurements, from a radar or from satellites, and then, based on this input, run a numerical model that can give you a forecast of the wave field around the tank or the ship. And but of course, I mean, this, they cannot be done real time, so we're not there yet. But the computational powers of computers is increasing, and probably in the next 5 years maybe we're going to see some breakthrough with the real-time prediction that include phase resolving modeling of waves. The AI is going to also be I think is going to have a great impact on predicting rogue wave patterns, because the power of AI is that through all training an AI system on all this satellite imagery is able to see features and patterns that even for a human expert are difficult to see. And so, there may be a possibility through AI to find special features or patterns that can basically forecast rogue waves. My recent research that I published in the archives and now is under review for a scientific journal, I basically show that rogue waves, they break. And what I found the point of no return of a rogue wave, which we call it the breaking inception. This was formulated initially in 2018 by Mike Banner and Xavier Bartholomé and his students. And the breaking inception of a large wave is basically the point of no return. The wave basically knows that it will eventually break. It didn't break yet, but he knows that it knows that it will break. And then, once it breaks, this will occur at the breaking onset, with then all the energy converted in turbulence and so on, the fragmentation of the wave in. And what I found with my recent work, and so by studying the full nonlinear equation governing the dynamics of waves, I found that this point of no return is characterized by the critical slope of the surface to be at 22.5 degrees, which correspond to the silver ratio, which is basically, the little brother of the golden ratio. And here now you can see the for example, the silver ratio is the A4 papers that you use for every day. Basically, they are designed with a silver ratio. And this is the famous great wave of Akasawi. So you can see that, it followed the silver ratio. So which actually, what is interesting here is that there may be a possibility, by be able to, so now we have this trigger point, this point of no return that has a characteristic. I think this it looks like to be a universal threshold that can be useful for to detect when a large wave break. And however, what is the problem here? That after this point of the no return is crossed, then eventually, it will take some time for the wave to break, but this time scale is still less than of the same order of the wave period. So again, there is an issue of computational time. So we need, but I believe that in the next 5 years, very soon, we're going to see some great breakthrough, especially with AI, that will be able to detect and find features and spatial patterns in rogue waves from satellite imagery that human experts cannot even see by eye. So that's pretty exciting. So it's also something that I start working on it. But first I have to understand what is AI and what is doing. So trying to understand this new
frontier. Yeah,
yes.
we're learning every day. We've seen a lot of good things come from it, at least in the weather world. And we'll hope it applies to here. So all right, so Francesco, we're gonna wrap up here with the one thing we can't stop thinking about, tidal flooding or otherwise. I'll start off for this one here. So March Madness. I have, and I can't remember why, but I somehow became the March Madness bracket guy. So I am now the keeper of the March Madness bracket. So, I like doing it. I don't know how I got roped into it. I'm somehow like the lottery March Madness guy. Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when you were at the Press of Atlantic City before me, weren't you also the lottery March Madness guy?
I was. I think it's a meteorologist thing. Yes.
Is it? Okay. All right. So that's my one thing I can't stop thinking about is collecting everybody's Venmos for March Madness. Palma, what's going on?
Not much. I mean, I guess I can't really talk much about basketball. I always say that. We got about a month left of regular season hockey.
There you
go. Which means winter is coming to an end. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And soon I'll be watching the surfers trying to catch some waves, right? Before we know it, it'll be summertime.
Yeah, well, Ben Gravy in our past two nor'easters, he was out there surfing. I don't know what kind of wetsuit he was wearing, but it's too thick for my blood, whatever that is.
Yeah, my husband was out there after this last crazy storm with the snow and everything. And
what? How thick of a wetsuit did he have?
I don't know, 5 mil.
5 millimeters. No, it could have been 5 millimeters. Is pretty thick. That's
my best guess.
That sounds like a good guess.
That might be as like diving. I don't know. I can't keep up. There's too many wetsuits in my house. So.
Dan, is the March Madness there? Are we? Did I answer your one thing here, or did you have something else on your mind?
No, you didn't take mine. I'm going to, as the only non-Italian here today, wish all of you a happy St. Joseph's Day.
Look at that.
And it is my favorite day of the year because I dated an Italian girl in high school, and her family only on March 19th made homemade Zeppelis, the only day you can have them. And I still carry that tradition. I make Zeppelis on St. Joseph's Day. So happy St. Joseph's Day.
Wow.
Grazie, Dan.
And Amanda doesn't mind that whole carry on.
She does not, because they're so good that she loves them.
So you're making it's homemade Skeldon St. Joseph's pastries?
Yeah, they're not as good as like I used to live in Providence, Rhode Island, and go up on Federal Hill, where the Italians make them like fresh. I can't compete with that, but I give it a try every year.
Okay.
As this airs on St. Patrick's Day, I think.
But
But
that's right. Yeah,
Correct.
this is airing on St. Patrick's Day. Francesco, in Italy, what was your favorite Zeppole de San Giuseppe?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Zeppelin, so
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, he's I love ricotta. That's
Oh,
what
okay.
I mean.
See, I don't. I
I
don't.
do.
Go ahead. So you're a cannoli fan or
Yeah,
canola?
I would say
Uh,
yes, cannolo, yes.
Okay. How will you be celebrating? Will you be celebrating St. Joseph's Day in any way?
Now that I am here, not really. So
Okay.
when my no.
When you were younger. Awesome. All right. Well, hey, Francesco, we really appreciate you coming on here and chat with us about Rogue Wave. Where can people find out more about you and the research that you're doing?
Say it again.
Oh, I was just can you let our audience know where they can find out more about you and the research that you are doing?
Oh, well, I mean, I have, you can just Google my YouTube, just Google me or send me an email. My email
Okay.
is fedele@gatech.edu.
Okay.
And I have a YouTube channel, and that's where you will find all my research and my art. So,
Okay.
that's I teach art also. I already
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah.
So
Excellent.
thanks for having me here. Yes, I am here in the Collingwood Fine Arts Center, so it's a beautiful mansion. So I'm very exciting. So the students love it today. So it's
It looks
and tomorrow
nice.
I have my lecture. So we will have the regular lecture. So I have to teach the Hopfield network tomorrow. So we need to
Okay.
understand how we remember images, how we are able to, how the brain is able to remember and store images. And so, Hopfield was one of the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2024, together with him. So they are considered basically the grandfather of AI. So actually, it's very important to try to understand this, historical models that are the foundation of the modern ChatGPT transformers and more AI stuff. So anyway,
great. Well, thanks so much. We appreciate you coming on. This is going to wrap up this edition of Tidal Flooding Talk. New episodes come out every Tuesday night. We will chat with you next Tuesday. Happy St. Joseph's Day to everybody. Thank you, Dan, for the reminder. We'll talk with you soon.